Hi, I'm Paula from Paula's DIY Decor and welcome to my channel. I'm the crafter from Down Under and today I have 4 fabulous blue and white Shinwasseri inspired DIYs for your table and home decor. So for my first DIY, I want to share with you how I made this beautiful mirror Shinwasseri centerpiece. You're going to need 6 mirror tiles of any size, and you're going to need some wooden dowels cut down to the size of the mirror tile, and you're going to need some hot glue. So to get started, I used 15 dowels to place in between 2 of my mirror square tiles, and then I just used some popsicle sticks that I had on hand to glue on the back of the entire piece to hold the wooden dowels and the mirror tiles together. Now I could have used hot glue to place in between the wooden dowels, but I didn't. Sometimes you get some of the hot glue seeping through and I didn't want to do that. Then I'm going to use my trusty old Shinwasseri inspired blue and white paper napkin. I've had this napkin's design for a couple of years now and it's done me so well, and I'm going to cut it down to the size of the wooden dowels. Once I had done that, I then just used some Mod Podge and I simply decoupaged the beautiful blue and white napkin onto those wooden dowels. I took care to really push the paper napkin into the ridges of the wooden dowels because that was actually the look I was going for. I really wanted to see those beautiful ridges in between the wooden dowels as part of this design. Once the Mod Podge was dry, I just peeled off the leftover paper napkin on the side to create a nice clean edge and use my sanding block to just get rid of any overflow off the side of the design. And then to start to create a rectangular centerpiece design, I had 2 picture frames, old picture frames that I wasn't using, and I used those as the base of the rectangular centerpiece to adhere my mirror blocks to those picture frames. Because I was planning to use this centerpiece with some florals, I just created, using my popsicle stick, a little bit of a fake floor to connect the 2 picture frames together. You can use hot glue to adhere the popsicle sticks to the 2 picture frames, but it seemed to fit quite snug in there and I didn't need to do that. This centerpiece is not going to be moved around a lot, so it is a little bit flimsy in the center there. If you are planning to use it in a more solid way, then I would recommend you put in a longer piece of cardboard or a longer piece of wood to actually create a proper floor to this centerpiece. And then to just cover up the little gap that I had in between the mirror tiles, I just used the same wooden dowels and I just adhered them to the corners of the centerpiece. And then using some little wooden round balls, I just adhered them to the base of the centerpiece, and then that created 4 lovely little round legs for my centerpiece to stand up nicely. And then I just popped in some florals. I had some blue and I had some white hydrangeas, and there you have it, a beautiful mirror Shinwasseri centerpiece. It's very elegant. I absolutely love this centerpiece. I changed out the florals and inserted some pinks just to give it a bit of a summer vibe, but you can use any florals that you have on hand, and here you have an elegant, sophisticated and gorgeous mirror blue and white centerpiece. So for my second DIY, I want to share with you how I attempted to dupe this beautiful Shinwasseri pot. Now my inspiration for this DIY was this gorgeous ceramic Shinwasseri pot, but it was retailing for over $530, and I thought I could surely dupe that for much, much less, in fact just a few dollars. So all you're going to need is a blue and white Shinwasseri inspired napkin, some white acrylic paint and a metallic or a tin can or a tin pot. Now you can find these tin pots in your local discount store or your craft store, and all you're going to do is cover it in white acrylic or white chalk paint so that you've got a nice base for that beautiful blue and white napkin. The design that I was duping had a border at the top and at the bottom of the pot, and I cut up my napkin because I just so happened to have the border at the top and the bottom of this particular napkin design. I was very lucky, but you can use two different types of design to create the same look, and I just used some Mod Podge and adhered the paper napkin all the way around this beautiful pot to create the same look and feel as I was duping. If you're liking this video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you think and whether you'll be recreating the same designs. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. I love to make home decor, seasonal decor and beautiful tablescapes. And if you're returning to my channel, welcome back. I so appreciate all my beautiful subscribers. I think the crafting community is so generous, so kind and so positive, and I so look forward to reading all of your comments every time I post a video. So once the decoupage napkin was dry, I then inserted some floral foam, and I used some florals that I had in my stash, beautiful white flowers, some roses, some ferns and greenery to just create a textured arrangement. It's important to extend some of your designs and your centerpieces, and you can do this using some of that greenery, extending it out horizontally as well as vertically. And it's good to use florals of different types and sizes just to create further interest to your centerpiece. Here is the finished DIY. I thought it came out absolutely gorgeous, very similar to the $530 dupe, and I thought it was, for just a couple of dollars, an absolute steal. It was so much fun to make and it's so pretty. I think this might be one of my favourite DIYs, but I say that for all of my DIYs. I hope you enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoyed making it with you. Next, I want to share with you how I made this gorgeous two-way Shinwasseri paper lantern. Now, you're going to need for this particular DIY your wooden blocks and some hot glue, and of course any type of blue and white Shinwasseri style napkin. To create the lantern, I wanted to make sure that I had openings vertically and horizontally because I wanted to be able to turn on some little flickering battery-operated candles as well as insert some florals. So it'll make sense in a moment. So I created two squares by just simply adhering 4 tumbling blocks together. And then what I did was I created an H shape with the tumbling blocks. You can see me gluing them together now using some hot glue. Now you can use wood glue, but I do find that the hot glue is pretty strong and lasts for a long, long time. So once I had created 2 H shapes, they're going to form the long part of the lantern. Then I cut down some of this paper napkin to create the sides or the walls of the lantern. Now, to adhere the paper tissue to create the walls of this lantern, I could have just glued on the paper napkin directly onto the tumbling blocks, but I wanted to create kind of a hidden seam with this particular design. So I used some bamboo skewers to adhere the tissue paper and create more of a taut wall. You'll see what I mean in a moment. But by simply putting some regular glue stick down the side of the paper napkin, and then cutting down the skewers to the size of the lantern, I then just rolled the sides of the napkin onto the bamboo skewer, which allowed me to create some tension in between the paper napkin so that when I adhered the tissue to the walls of the lantern, I could then pull it a little bit and create that tension so it looked like it was a nice solid piece. Now you can cheat and simply decoupage this paper napkin onto some clear plastic. I didn't have any clear plastic on me, so I had to create this sort of on the fly and used the paper napkins just on its own. So my intention with this particular lantern is to pop some flickering candles on the inside so that at night it would shine through the tissue. And once you peel away the layers of your napkin, it's a very, very see-through, translucent paper napkin, so you get that lovely shining flickering light inside your lantern in the evening. So once I had repeated the process for the second tissue paper wall, I then used the glue stick again to create me some stickiness so that I could pop that second wall in. It's a little bit awkward once you've laid down the first wall, but that stickiness of the glue stick gives you just enough stickiness to enable then you to use the hot glue gun to permanently adhere the tissue paper as your second wall of this particular lantern. The beauty about this particular design is I can use it as a lantern horizontally or vertically. So what I did was I inserted, using a little bit of hot glue, a little tea light, battery operated tea light, so that when I stood it up vertically, I could pop on that light standing up, and if I wanted to use this particular lantern horizontally, I then also, just using a bit of hot glue, popped it into the opening of the horizontal side of the lantern. And when you tip it upside down, it's really easy to turn those battery operated tea lights on and off, and here you can see I've turned them on so you can see how it turns out. And then I just closed the lantern with the remaining square side using those tumbling blocks. And here I'm just popping in some florals, and there you have it, a really easy, beautiful Chinese looking blue and white chinoiserie inspired tissue lantern centerpiece. It's two-way and it's fabulous. And for my last DIY, I'd like to share with you how I made this beautiful Shinwasseri inspired hoop centerpiece. Now, to get started, you're going to need 3 tumbling blocks and 2 bamboo hoops that you can pick up in any discount store. Now, to make the base of the hoop, you're going to use your hot glue and bring together the 3 tumbling blocks to create the base. Once you've created the base, you're going to use a paper napkin, a blue and white design, Chinoiserie inspired, and you're going to use some Mod Podge to adhere the thinnest layer of the napkin, which has the print on it, straight onto the base of those tumbling blocks. You can see I was getting to the bottom of my Mod Podge, but we got there in the end. And you're just going to gently glue the napkin all the way around the base. Once my base was decoupaged, I just put it to the side to dry, and then I started working on the hoops. So with the hoops, we are going to, you guessed it, decoupage our beautiful blue and white napkin straight onto the hoop. I wanted to make sure that I covered the entire hoop, so the outside and the inside, and just by cutting up the napkin into thin strips, I was then able to just use my paintbrush and some more decoupage until I had completely covered the hoop inside and out. Once both hoops were covered in the paper napkin with the Mod Podge, I then just used my hot glue gun and I adhered one ring to the left of the base and one ring, the second ring, to the right of the base, and then I gently brought them together so that they joined at the top of the circular form. I turned the structure upside down so that I could use the hot glue to adhere the top of the rings from the underside. I didn't want to see the glue from the top, and then I just gently brought it together until that glue dried and kept it together. And here's the finished DIY, a beautiful Chinoiserie inspired double hoop centerpiece. You can pop a candle in the center like I have here with a battery operated tea light candle, or you can use some beautiful florals to create a gorgeous centerpiece arrangement. I think it's unique, it's different, and it's really elegant. I also added a couple of wooden balls just to elevate the beautiful centerpiece at the bottom, and I thought it turned out absolutely gorgeous. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this DIY. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week. Bye.